skills necessary for someone to be a status quo buster?
That's a great, again, I love it. A couple things. I'll throw out some things that that have worked consistently for me. So we obviously know that, it's easy to, some people may expect, I would say, well, the courage to do something different. Well, no. Well, what you're asking for is, where's that courage come from? I would tell you that, getting new eyes to see, this is what I see as saying that, attacking the status quo. The status quo, when you really translate, is really a sense of prolonged equilibrium. So things are always moving in some sense of decay, and it takes people to stir things up. So when you go into, I challenge folks, when you go into a particular new job or a new situation, always, again, I love to focus on ones. What one thing do you instantly notice that you think can make some kind of difference? It doesn't even have to be big. But what happens is we need to be reinforced with little things. So in some case, the little pebble is better than throwing in the big rock. Many folks think that when they come into a place, they have to make a big splash. And oftentimes what they do is make a big mess. I would offer, where can you take and just put a pebble in to let people know and communicate that, hey, I see this, or I can know that, and this can be just a little better. And what happens is one little better after another starts to create a ripple now that other people are willing to join up with, which is the second point. Make it a priority, create what I call coalitions of the unlikely. It's easier to attack the status quo with strength and numbers, but don't make them people that look like you, act like you, or talk like you. When I think of Afghanistan, when I think of the work we did in transforming Grand Forks into, America's first unmanned system wing, where we bring in RPVs, doesn't matter what it is, and creating Patriot Express. I always look to create coalitions of the unlikely, and that who are people not like me, who have different ideas and different backgrounds that I can invite into a conversation. And every single time I do that, all of a sudden ideas come out where, as we talk through them, for me, they would have been like, hey, no way I'm going there. But just the process of conversation, the facts that other people are willing to join you and doing something different, that's all the status quo is willing to intentionally step out and do something different. You get strength by inviting different people to the conversations to join you. So little pebbles start to make a really big difference over time. People not like you start to get you to expand your thinking about how you should think about something or look at something. And last but not least, don't be afraid to fail. At the end of the day, I love what John Maxwell says about failing forward. It takes a lot of humility and it takes a lot of confidence to realize that a good number of the things we're going to try aren't going to work out exactly the way that we want. Don't take it personal. Realize that failing forward, people learn more, as you know. I mean, I look at the people that I'm probably most fond of isn't the ones that are necessary that are sitting on top of the mountain. They're the ones that I have watched stumble and fall and get up and away. And I'm like, wow, talk about someone who's committed to the goal, someone who's humble enough to be able to dust themselves off and say, well, I probably won't do that again for this, or I will, and here's what I'll do differently. I respect them that much more. Respect, at least for me, has come from watching people who, again, had the humility and the courage and the willingness to step off in a different direction. And sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they get it wrong. But what's key is that every single time that they move out, they do so very deliberately. They do so with the intentionality of wanting to leave the place better than they found it. And at the end of the day, if the only reason we're disrupting the status quo is because we can, I believe the reason we should disrupt the status quo is we all have a mission here on earth to leave the world better than we found it. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be grand. It could be one day at a time. And so I would just, I ask people, what one thing could you do tomorrow when you show up in your workplace that is going to be able to say, what little thing can I do to make this place better tomorrow than I found it today? What one thing can I do to add value to someone's life? Who can I reach out to that's not like me and get their ideas so that together we can move out and get strength? And that's, nice. At least for me, what's worked.
You have that growth mindset, the last point that you made, that's so key in this world where